back to Pride Studios. So this is going to be my fourth attempt at this video, and I know that I posted that iPhone 1, but when it didn't let me transfer the file today or late last night, I went ahead and made an appointment, and I have a brand new phone. So here we are, and I'm happy to do it because I love these paintings, and I'm ready to do it. I've practiced 3 times already. But anyhow, so welcome back. This is episode 9. We are going to get to the tutorial here in just a moment, but I wanted to say a few things before I got to that, which is how I want to kind of do my tutorials. I want to talk a little bit, and then we'll get to it. Bam and I are happily settling into our new place. This is the studio side. The other side is the gallery side, and it is going to be all done by this weekend. So 2 more videos be posted by the end of the weekend, and hopefully everything will be in place. But what I wanted to do is just talk a little bit about who I am, and because this is my art life, not just the tutorial. So I am Scott Alexander. This is Bam Bam. I hope you guys are starting to get familiar with this, and I'm hoping that you're going to get familiar with the surroundings here. We are thrilled to be in our new place. I want to thank 3 people really quick for helping us to get this happen. David, Kino, and Ray. I know people who know everybody in that sentence are probably thinking, what kind of a bunch of hooligans did you get? But you know what? It took all of that to get this done. So thank you guys. I appreciate what you did to help us get here. I am a multimedia artist. I do sculpture, I do painting, and I come from a little bitty town in South Texas called Agua Dulce. If you've never heard of it, Google it. It does have a historical marker there for a battle that was fought. But anyhow, a real small town, probably the exact opposite of what some of you think, maybe where my roots really are. But yeah, it's a small country farming town, and I love it. My mother lives there today. And speaking of, a couple more thank yous. My mom, oh my gosh, she sponsored all of this, and without her, none of this is possible, and it's all for her because she is my true inspiration, and she is the creative in the family. Something else I wanted to do is, with each video, is do a shout out to some of my colleagues that I admire, that are doing the same thing I'm doing and doing a much better job in a much more efficient way. But now that I'm set up, it should be smooth sailing now. But the first person I wanted to thank or say hello to, and Bam is done. He said, "I'm done, Daddy." You gonna go? Is one of my angels, my goodness, and she has been just with her personality, because she keeps it real and she's funny and does great videos. Lisa Simmons from California. I hope that you guys know her. I hope that you are subscribed to her YouTube channel. If not, please look her up. She has some great stuff there. My favorite painting of hers right now it's called Pinwheels on Parade. It's similar to my swirlies, but she does it a little bit different way, and it's awesome. Really cool person. And if you get a chance, look up Nikki Simmons. That's her daughter, Nikki, rocking out in London. Her voice is magnificent. So the Simmons girl is rocking it. Somebody else I want to thank real quick. It's somebody who gave me that last bit of confidence to kind of get over the should I do this or not. I was doing it for fun and I still do it, and it is fun. But I really wanted to take it serious. Is Rick Cheadle. He reached out to me a few months ago, but it wasn't because of my painting. I mean, he was familiar with me because of my paintings. But it was because of my writing. I was a corporate trainer prior to this life, and that's what I did. I authored and taught and made classes. So I'm a real technical writer, and I think that's kind of what stood out. Is that I'm very detailed. If any of you have ever asked me a question and I answered it, you probably know this about me, is that I am a lengthy. I write lengthy explanations because I want to make sure that I answer the question. So thank you, Rick. I don't even know if you know how much you influenced what's going on today. So what is going on today? We are going to do, and you saw it in the title, a reverse dip floral. And I have been doing these now, probably for a week and a half, but I'm gonna give you a visual aid so that you can see where this all came from. It's no secret. I love Fiona Art's art. And I really do. My goodness, she is amazing. She's phenomenal. The things she does, and I think that she just goes at it. I don't know. I mean, she may have a plan, but what I see is she is just putting paint just the right way and doing this reverse dip. It makes it look so easy. And when I first did mine and I posted it, her comment to me was, "You'll get a hang of the removal of the paper towel." And that was the deal. I thought that if she commented on it, maybe there were other folks that were having that same issue, and I think that's what it is. If people aren't getting the result they're wanting, or if your flower is here and you reverse dip and it ends up over here, and it starts out this big and it ends up this big, and you can't get the floral part out of it, it's the removal of the paper towel. And so basically what we're trying to do is we're trying to let gravity help us out, and what the paper towel does is it blends the paint in such a way that it's got all those kinds of dimensions in there, and you just cannot do that with manually, or at least I couldn't. So that's what we're aiming for. If you can imagine a hula hoop covered in spandex, you put a rock in the middle and you grab the two sides and you lift them up at the same time, well, everything's going to come up at an even pace except for the middle. It's going to stretch, and the last thing to be removed is going to be that rock. That's what we're trying to do here manually with paper towel. But I thought, well, I can't do that just right. So what can I do to make that happen? And I'll tell you the evolution of the tool that I'm revealing, the big reveal. Probably somebody else has done this already, but this is me. This is how I work. I don't look for solutions. I try to make the solution. So this is what I did. I took, first it was a sifter that had the mesh on it, and I cut the mesh off, and it was a round with a handle. And so I actually hand sewed a multi-purpose washcloth onto it the first time, because I thought it's going to be used over and over again, and I did. But I also realized later, because I was doing so many, that it works just as well with tape and a paper towel. So this is it. I wet this, it sags in the middle, I touch, and I lift. And that does almost the same thing as what Fiona does when she lifts it out. Now she's getting more of it towards the middle, which is fine. This is going to give you a distinct type of floral. All of my coasters that I've done use this technique. I'll show you here in a second when I get to the table. But this is what I use, and now I have several different versions of it. I even have a big square that I cut the canvas out of, and I did the same thing. So I'm going to use these in the painting I'm going to do here in just a moment, and kind of get floral action going on in different pieces of the painting. So that's what I'm going to do. One other thing before I head over there is, what do I do with all of this paint that is left over? I wanted to mention, I was going to do a video of just what do I paint on, and it's just so many things. But one of the things that I'm known for are my rocks. And I have got lots of rocks, and they're down here. This container is usually at my front door on a table, and it's got all kinds of rocks from what some people call wasted paint, and I don't. I call this spilled paint, or a means to an end, because it helped us get to somewhere. But here's some of my rocks, and I have a whole big thing full of them, all colorful and shiny and pretty, and I have it at my front door. And what I do is I tell folks that come to visit the gallery or come to see me, on your way out, choose a rock. Some of them have my web address on the back. If you guys are trying to make a living out of this, or try to make some extra cash, and you need to have people directed towards your website, it's a great idea. Whenever I go and market my Liquid Affair, Liquid Affair is the name of the company, and it's a mobile painting party. And so I take all of my supplies and I get everybody all set up, and we all do some acrylic pouring together. And I put all that information on it. When I go visit and market, I leave a rock with all my information. That is where I have all of my fashion line, and I'm really going to concentrate on that over the next couple of weeks to get a lot of product on there. A lot of handbags. Summer's coming, a lot of wraps. Summer is almost here, it seems like. It's hot in Texas already. And then something I hadn't mentioned at all, and I can't believe I haven't, is I have an online art supply store. And I've had it for about 3 months, and I started it, and then my attention went somewhere else. It is called Gallery Art Supply. Now, anything, if you order art supplies online, and you order anything through Amazon or eBay, do me a favor and bookmark my my art supply store. If you go through mine, you're gonna get the same price. I do get a little bit of a commission for anything that's sold through my site, and that will help me continue to do what I'm doing, because this is what I was meant to do. And now that I'm set up, now that I'm here and I'm settled, I want to prove to you guys that that's what I was meant to do. All right, guys, so we're going to switch over to the actual painting now. And in this first part, it's I've sped it up a little bit so that it's really just covering the canvas. I do the corners. I come back and I've got a dirty pour going, just some colors I had in my arsenal in the back. I'll do that, and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to do tree ring pours, because I like to have that interest in the background rather than just have a plain white or black. First I started just doing colors, and then I started doing all the different, well, this kind of stuff. And you'll see, you know, that's when I started getting comments like, you know, your paintings have so much depth, there's dimension and layers, and the reality is they're right. It does, because I do. And it's just one of those things that I like doing. You know, especially these tree ring pours. These tree ring pours are the best for me because I love the result. There's so many colors trapped in each one of these, and basically I just put in my little measuring cup with the little spout part. I put color after color, and I'm putting them in from the side, all from the same side, and so it's making layers, layers, and layers. And then when I'm pouring out, I'm getting as close to the canvas as possible, and then I'm twirling it around, and all these rings develop. And now that I'm tilting, you'll see that all those colors start coming back. I'm going to do one, now that I'm looking at it, I'm going to do one kind of right here, kind of floating in the middle of whatever land this is. And then I'm going to do one down here in this corner, and probably one here. So I'll make this one a little bit bigger, and these two smaller. I might even do, well, let's see, I might do two here. And then I'll use this last guy twice in maybe the corners. We'll decide that here in a second. But I've got my little squirt bottles, and I don't know, I've watched Fiona do it with a stick, and I cannot. I cannot do that. I tried, I'm in a big old mess, but guys, good news. It's okay to make a big old mess. And I'm gonna do 3 different types of preparations for the pulls. So this is kind of the classic one. I do one off center, so I'll do the cool colors over here. I hope you're not getting that glare that I'm seeing, and if you are, I apologize. I'll keep that in mind. But I'm not going to do this a 5th time. I'm sorry. All right. All right, let's let that guy kind of settle up a little bit. And I do see it is moving that way, so I'll start with red flowers. those are a lot closer in color than I remember. Okay, so get some. What can we use to, you know, I'll go ahead and get some purple in there then. Kind of help me define the edges. Come down here. Okay, you know what, that's good for that one. And just get these back where they belong. Okay, so now let me do some little ones. Do one over here. I've never done this before, this technique. I saw somebody do it online earlier. So let's see how this goes. I probably should have watched the video. One over here. Yeah, I'm just going to do this because this is what I'm comfortable with. It's a crazy landscape. It has kind of floral going on in the middle of it, but oh, you know what? I haven't been using this dark blue. That's what this was missing. Right about here. All right, what do you think? Have I made a big old mess yet? I have, but I think it's all right. I think it's all right to have this big old mess because that is what we are going to turn into something gorgeous. Oh. I remember that I had another green in the back. It's kind of sitting there, so I'm gonna get some greens through here. Oops. I'm gonna have to do those kind of manually at the end. I'm sorry, I'm mumbling again. I'm trying not to. I did it on every one of the videos and I was like, I need to not do that. Maybe that's why I wasn't getting them published. All right, so let's move everybody back to a happy place. there, and you don't want to move over there, so we'll do that. Okay, so let me get this guy done first, because that one is the one that looks like it's moving the most. So I've got my little Tupperware lid and my paper towel taped together. Hold on to the corners, guys, if you're using a square one, just in case. You can come down just to the edges. Make sure we got everything. And then here we go. I'm just going to pull straight up. And put to the side. That's got some good colors going already. Let me do this next one here. All right, you ready? Trying to get it all without grabbing this other flower. Okay, see it? And again, straight up. Look at that. I've saved these also, because they're so pretty. Okay, my little guy. Oh, my little guy. Little guy, these aren't so little anymore. So, improvise. I've done this a couple of times. You from here. And then I'm going to drag you over a little. And up. And then, literally, I'm just going to wipe this paint. I'm going to use it again. I'm going to use it on this other one. And then I might use another one, pull out of it. So this is going to get the middle parts. See? Oh yeah. I think that's going to be fine that way. Okay, so what do we have going on now? Look at all that. Look at all those colors. I think breaking all the rules today. What rules, right? What rules? Am I having fun? I am having fun. That's the main rule. The other main rule is to make sure your tape holds. So, because it came off of this piece here, do it holding it, but I want to get more paint off of this one over here. Now this one in the corner, get all this. I want to pull from the greens also, so that's why I'm doing them again. And it's like I mentioned this in another video, probably one that I didn't get to publish. It's kind of like my balloon smashes. I noticed that it's not the first smash that I like. It's usually the second and third smashes that I do like. Okay, yeah, that pulled in a lot more. Surprised if I'm going to do this again. Perfect. All right, so what have I done, right? What is going on this canvas? All kinds of greatness is what I see so far, because I see the future. I am going to now kind of mess with them all. I'm gonna fire up the edges, kind of get some of these hard lines to start getting dreamy on me. Do too green. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm going to start shaping, and this is kind of where I step away from the traditional way to do this, and I start making shapes happen. And I didn't do that. You know, I thought it was taboo to start messing with it once it's done. I thought, well, but I couldn't help myself. I wanted to see what would happen if, and that is exactly how I am. So first thing I'm going to do, and oh no, here's going to come the noise. The guys that were helping me out, they could not stop laughing every time they would hear this thing. All right, so I'm going to first define some centers here. So the way I do that is, you see how this kind of got a little mumbled up and all these other colors are kind of nice and partying? What I'm going to do is I'm going to come here, I'm going to press and get rid of it over here. There's that wonderful noise that they just loved. Same thing here, we kind of did that and it got kind of crazy right there. And I've used this tool so much that I use it now to basically shape the flower. This one I like, it's kind of more of an orchid kind of a look, so I'm not going to completely destroy what was already happening. I do want to draw it in just a little. Kind of give it an off-centered center. And discreetly trying to, and this one too, my gosh, this reminds me of from the Dark Crystal. I don't remember her name. It was the lady with the eye that kind of looked like a goblin goat. I don't remember her name. I'm gonna have to look it up though. All right, so now I'm going to grab one of my favorite tools, is a paintbrush. And I'm going to use the back side of the paintbrush to kind of define the petals a little bit, draw in those lines. I'm going to come through with these leaves as well. And there's not a lot, you know, this is exactly where there are no rules. You know, it is what you see. Oh, and I was so excited today. One of the groups that I'm in is from Paris, and I saw all these multiple notifications that said I was mentioned, and when I got to it, you know, of course there's translation, but I didn't know what they were saying, but all I know is that France was talking about me. And so I told my family, I said, hey, look, y'all, France is talking about me. I don't know what they're saying, but it's pretty cool. And it was somebody who had taken a page from my book and gone through and did this swirl in the center of her floral. And she could not compliment me enough, and I was so humbled. It was really, really nice. All right, so got that. Now I'm gonna start messing with this leaf too. Going to go to both of these. All right, who do I want to go to next? Oh, there's so many things going on. I love it. So come here. guys, it's the 4th time I'm doing this, but it feels like this is the one that I was meant to show you. There's so many examples of things that I do. And as much as I would love to be able to give you an hour and a half of video, because that is how much time I would spend on something like this, now that I'm seeing what's going on. I'm going to do my best to try to minimize that a little bit without taking away technique. All about technique. I didn't ever think I was going to be that kind of guy. You know, I used to watch television and there was that kid that was always about the rules and like, that's not going to be me. Well, that was exactly me. All right, now this is my iris, I'm going to call it now. In the beginning, I was afraid to use black in these florals. I was like, well, black's not usually in flowers, but my gosh, it does such a good job of adding contrast and interest and drama. I mean, really, how about a dramatic flower is this? Okay, and something I'm going to do before that gets too middle out that I muddied up. Same with these two guys, because I can still come in and shape that middle part. Just need to get this extra paint. This is a funny guy. This is almost like a double floral over here. Two flowers kissing. All right, and this guy I haven't messed with at all, but I really like what's happening just kind of naturally. I'm not gonna do much. I like this kind of wavy thing. Remember when I first did it, I did it and dragged, and then it didn't get done over here, so that's why I came back the 3rd time and did it, because I wanted to pull some color. But now I'm just loving because it starts in the rings. You see this piece right here? This kind of feathered edge is coming from the true ring pour. It's not from anything I did with the little puddles. Let's see, I want you to come in here. I see, and I'm looking at a line that doesn't make sense to me. Here, without glare, I hope, there is a dark piece of paint that comes in and it kind of curves over this. Now in nature, that won't happen. That is not what petals do. This is where I pulled and the paint slipped and fell over. So I'm going to take care of that, and that's usually what I'm looking for when I'm doing this, is things that don't make sense. And so it would make sense if it was part of that. So I'm going to try to group part of it over there. And then here, I just touched it and drug it down. So now it makes a little more sense to me. I like that little spray. Oh gosh, this is so pretty. I always, and I'll mention this every time, I'm sure, try to sneak in the primaries. I just love. I call them accidental rainbows come in. There are no accidents in rainbows. That is one beautiful flower. What are my other guys doing? You floating around? Oh, you can see there, this little spill right here. So I'm gonna start dragging from actually out here. Get this leaf coming in. And now we kind of incorporated all of this kind of into this painting, which I ain't gonna lie, I was a little nervous whenever I saw what I was doing. I was like, what are you doing, you nut? Just do one thing. But no, it's Friday, he's gotta do it all. Well, this is actually my Friday night out. This is what I do. No wonder I'm single. Happily, sorry. Right, so, you know what, I want more of that to happen. All right, that didn't work, okay. See, now it's easier to explain what doesn't make sense. See all these nice fluid lines and all this drama happening with color, and cells are starting to pop up, and then we got this slug over here, right? It's just kind of just hanging around. So you know what? We're going to turn it into a beautiful leaf by cutting through my filigree. I remember watching when I was young, a special on PBS, channel 16. A special about, it was on Sunday, about candle makers. And I was fascinated by how they would cut and twist, and the pattern would come out because they had dipped layer after layer in different colors. And it was just beautiful stuff. And you know, in my mind, if I had tried to figure out how they did the patterns without seeing that special, I'd have thought they'd have spent months just doing each little line, you know. But just like I'm doing here, is I'm letting what happens naturally whenever I drag through color, you know, it brings the color with it from its surroundings. And that's what is really, I think, the beauty of this kind of pour. I see you over here, I see you. I forgot about you. All right, we'll come back. Let me check on my flowers. I think it's a good time to torch again. Not that dramatic though. Okay. I'll do my best to get close-ups of each flower individually. I have the luxury of being right on top of it, and I can see so many different layers of color coming through. Some of the colors are just peeking at me, which is, I love that, you know. Dimension, for sure. That's where it comes from. Like somebody, oh, I need to take care of this red line over here. I was just testing you guys and seeing who was going to tell me, hey, I see something that doesn't make sense, and then that would make sense to me. Other people would think we were crazy, the conversations we would have. And I have this cartoon in my head, a Christmas cartoon of an office party where they're doing White Elephant, and it's two different panels. One side, it's a bunch of suits, you know, and everyone's just kind of humdrumming around and like walking around with an unwrapped gift in, you know, paper sacks. And in the corner, there's a rumble going on. It's just a cloud with all the little, you know, hash marks and question marks and all those kinds of things, because they're just really getting at it. And somebody's asking, what's going on over there? And so it's an office party, and what are people usually fighting over? The white elephants and office parties. Yes, you're right. The alcohol, whoever bought the best bottle, right? And then you flip it over and you see a bunch of people, and they're just so happy. They're just so happy walking around with their gifts. One lady's got a stack of cups. Another lady's got some straws. And then, well, you know, we're adults. There's a rumble going on in the back. And somebody says, well, what's going on over there? And I say, well, somebody brought a gallon of Golden's pouring mixture. So that would get me going. I still haven't tried it, and I won't, I can't. But I tell people, well, for a while in my other apartment, whenever I was able to do, I did a couple of pour parties there where I just advertised and said, hey, you know, on Saturday night as an alternative to going out and getting silly, how about you come to my place instead? And I would max it out at 6 people. I never had 6. I had 4, 5 if you counted friends of mine. But come in, I would do a pour party. I told them $20. Come in a few hours, BYOB. But it's going to end early. If you want to go out after that, then that's your business, not mine. I said $20, or at that time I was using Floral, a gallon of Floral. And you know, I mean, people they got a kick out of it, and so they would go to Home Depot before they came to my place and load me up on Floral. I thought it was brilliant for that. See how I didn't tell nobody? And in fact, I'm due to meet with the management of the place that I moved into here in San Antonio to arrange for a party here, and then at their sister properties as well. It's another one of those ideas, guys, if you're trying to figure out where you can get yourself a little crowd, do as much for the properties you can. Get a flyer going. You know, you just got to change out names once you do one. I use Poster My Wall. I know there's a lot of different ones. It just happens to be the one that I use. I don't know that it's better than any other one, and I just change the names. And it's personalized and they love it. And it's professional. I deliver that with a package whenever I am marketing. I'll say, hey, and I'll market it for you because that's what they don't have time for. Those are things that they're required to do. A lot of times. Just have resident events, but the last thing on their mind is getting a resident event together when they've got to meet, you know, NOI or their net operating income, or, you know, some of those other things, or they've got a townhome with a leak that's destroying foundation. You know, I've seen some stuff, y'all. I'm not going to mess with that. Anyway, but I'm going to take some of the middle out of here. And I'm just about wrapping up, you guys. I want to thank you for your patience. And now that I actually did the video on the phone I'm keeping, and I am going to be editing it in the program that I recorded it in, I think that I should have this out by tomorrow. Get you something to look at for Saturday. What I will do, not on camera, I'm gonna come back, I have to go mix more green because I wanna get some more leaves out here and kind of bubble this out a little bit, kind of draw those colors back in. That's gonna be the difference when you see the finished product. But how about those tools that I use? I hope that you guys are looking around your house for anything round or square, depending on your canvas. The rectangles, guys, it's a little bit more difficult. And I saw a diagonal pull that I just loved, so I'm gonna try that next. But here you go. I showed you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, if you count the different ways I did this, techniques on this one painting. You know, it's just the dirty pour and tilting, you know, kind of get my interest in. And then these traveling tree ring pours that look what's going on there in the background. You know, you can't get that from any other technique. It's one of my favorites. And florals 3 ways. I did the dots. I drew a flower over here, so this is dots, this is dots. Drew a flower over here, and I did rings over here, and then dots. So, thank you guys for everything, your patience, for your support, for your kind words. Even if I have to translate them, I love those the most because I try to guess. I'm gonna teach myself French, y'all. But thank you guys for everything. Please, if you get a chance, go by and look at my fashion line on Vita. And by probably tomorrow evening, I should have my art supply store back up and running. I did go and click around today, and looks like I've got to go and make some connections back, and that's probably why they keep calling me. So just got a little bit of a tilt going on now, and I'll show the finished product here in a moment. Thank you. Have a good night.